Hey, you guys, I want to introduce you to just a friend of mine. I guess a friend. I mean, we haven't really talked in 30 years, but still, I consider somebody a friend, somebody who really meant a lot to me when I was brand new. You guys, this is Jeff Majors. Okay. Now, when I met Jeff Majors in 1988, Jeff had just won an All-American scholarship. He was number 4 in the nation. And he was a branch manager out in Amarillo, Texas. He went to college in Abilene. But at that meeting, Jeff, you probably don't even remember giving a talk, but you gave a talk and you talked about closing, and you basically gave some simple, really basic nuggets. But for me, they were freaking amazing. And some of the things that you taught there, I've taught year after year after year. My sales career turned immediately better. I got better because of that. And I've given you props for that. You can ask some of my managers for a long, long time. Okay. So we appreciate you. I'll let you tell a little bit more about your story, but Jeff, by the way, he's taken time out of his evening. He is actually in the parking lot he has season tickets to the Dallas Stars hockey team. And he's out of the meeting, out of the game, just to talk to us, which I needed to make sure I told him the story of why I admire him so much. But Jeff, real quick, talk about when you were a sales rep long time ago, then you took a 30-year hiatus, right? Yes. And you started selling CUTCO again last year. Tell us a little bit about the first time around selling, kind of what are some of the things you learned? How did you feel about the job? What was your experience?
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks a lot for inviting me. This is really good. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you just fine. And people are loving your accent. I can already tell. They're like, yeah, he is from Texas. We can tell.
I'm coming to you live from underneath the American Airlines Center in beautiful downtown Dallas. We've got 24 degrees and it's Ice-Mageddon outside, but we're excited. 1986, I was 2 weeks out of high school. I was an 18-year-old high school kid and got the job selling knives, went home. I told my dad, I'm going to sell knives. And he said, there's no way you can sell anything. I never could sell anything. There's not a chance in the world you can do any good at this, but go ahead and give it a shot. And I was dumb. I was naive. I was scared to death when this was the first real job that I ever had outside of working at my high school in the maintenance department. So I was super excited, but I was very competitive. And when my dad said, you can't do that, I knew I was going to be successful because I had to prove him wrong. And there was no doubt I was going to do anything it took to make this work. And so, and also I thought the knives were really cool. And that obviously helped a whole lot. And it's kind of funny, you know, Brad asked me what were my first impressions before actually starting this job. And my first thought was, well, this past summer or 35 and a half years ago, which time are you talking about? And it's kind of the same feeling. I'm kind of scared. I'm a little excited, and the knives are really cool. And that's not changed at all in you know, the two different starts from 35 years ago. So super excited about the opportunity that we all have. And again, the knives are awesome, and that makes a huge difference, even 35 years later.
Right on. Awesome. Very good. I'm going to search for that email that I sent, the text message I sent you. Okay. So I have those questions up here too.
Sure.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that, let's see where we go. What are some of the things that you've enjoyed most about the job? You can talk about, you know, when you first, and tell your story. You were a rep for how many years?
Yeah, I started off in 1986, and that first summer, I was working in a guy named Mark Caruso's office, who ended up winning several national championships as a manager, as a district, and also as a division manager. And he was a great manager and taught me a ton. But working in his office, you know, it was really, you know, I was just kind of one of the guys. And looking back, I actually did really, really well. But we had such a strong office and such a lot of great producers. I didn't really feel that way. So that competition of consistently trying to do my best, trying to do a ton of demonstrations, see as many people as I possibly could, really kind of laid the foundation for me. I went off that next fall, you know, a few months later, I went off to school at Abilene Christian University. And that first school year, back then, scholarships for All-American were only in the summertime or the academic year. And so I just was bound and determined to keep working while I was in school. And obviously I didn't have as much time to dedicate to it, but I figured if I was going to do well and make some money while I was in school, I needed to do something every single day, if not for sure every single week. And I just made it a point to talk to somebody about CUTCO every day, whether it was setting an appointment or making a sale or doing a demonstration. I had to do just a little bit of my day aside from studying and doing all the fun things you do at college, but just kind of being consistent every single month. And it worked out through that school year, the fall of 86 and the spring of 87. I ended up being the number 4 salesperson in the nation. Came back to Dallas that next summer and killed it again as an FSM, and did really well, made a bunch of money, and then went back to school again for another semester. And the whole time I was in school, my professors were telling me if I studied hard, worked really hard, that I'd be able to make, $30,000 my first year out of college. Well, I just made that much as a college freshman, working about 5-6 hours a week. And then all of a sudden I get this management opportunity that kind of comes out in front of me. And so I stayed in Dallas for that next spring. And then I moved to Amarillo, Texas to be a branch manager. And so I really sold for about 2 solid years when you consider my manager training in there as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good amount of timing to be able to do that. That's good. And so you're a branch, you went back to school, and then eventually you became a district manager for like 3 years. I think we talked about earlier. And then after that, you decided you didn't want to be a part of CUTCO, and you did like medical staffing and.
Yes, for the last 26 years, I've been in medical staffing, helping doctors find jobs and hospitals find doctors. Met my wife. I've been married for it'll be 26 years in June. I got 2 awesome kids. And the whole time for the last 30 years, I've been a CUTCO customer, using it every day, using it all the time. And every time I'd go to church, or every time I'd meet some folks that I'd known my whole life, they would tell me how much they love their CUTCO and how much they wish they could get some more. And I mean, I always would tell my wife, man, I need to pick up a sample kit and do this again. Man, I need to pick up a sample kit and start selling CUTCO again. Because I had all those customers from those 2 years of selling and the 3 years as a manager, and they never stopped loving CUTCO.
Yeah.
I mean, I've literally got a list of 600 plus of folks that bought knives from me in 1986, 1987, 1988, all those years. And they still love it. And they were always telling me, man, I remember when you came and sold me CUTCO back when you were a high school kid or college kid, and we use them all the time. And they were so excited, even still. And so the opportunity came along this summer, and Bruce Goodman, as you all know, is the CEO of Vector West, was the sales promotion manager back then. So I just picked up the phone and said, hey, Bruce, what are the chances of me getting a sample kit? I had no idea there was an event team. I had no idea we could do virtual presentations. I had no idea about all the, the websites and all those things. And he was like, yeah, you need to come back. And I was so excited, thinking this was just going to be kind of a little, part-time job. I'll make a couple of $1,000s a month extra, and it'll help the family out. And then I started July 21st and did a little bit of training, did my first sale July 27th after my first presentation. And the other things that I was doing for income just all of a sudden didn't seem quite so exciting anymore. And so I'm doing CUTCO full time now for the last 7 months. And
you said you sold about 140 grand or so in the last 7 months.
Yeah. I've done. I actually ran some numbers earlier today. I've done 330 either presentations, seen 313 customers, just right around there, made 295 sales. And so my average order is not that big. It's about the same as your team, around 450. But I've sold 94.5% of every single person that I've set in front of, that I've presented the products to.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind away, that number one, that CUTCO it's so easy to sell because it's so great. But number two, just how effective you can be when you really love the product.
Yeah. And I know you've worked hard on honing your skills. I do remember this about you from before, even, that you were meticulous about keeping your records. And when we talked the very first time, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and I asked you to come on, you were saying, yeah, I remember I did 604 presentations or whatever. And you knew your stats all the way from back then. So I thought that was really, because a lot of people don't keep meticulous. They're just kind of doing demos and say, how many demos have you done? I don't know, 20, 32, or 70. They don't really know a number. You knew, and you knew how many demos, how many sales you made. You had a 65% closing percentage. You had a $120, $140 average order size, or whatever it was. I mean, you knew those numbers. And now, again, you're doing the same thing. You treating it like a business. Even back then, when you were right out of high school, you still treated it seriously. And if you treat it like a professional, you're going to get paid like a professional. Treat it like a hobby, you're going to get paid like most hobbies pay, which is little or none, for a lot of people. So that's always been something I've really admired you for, knowing those numbers. But why did you come back? Oh, you just said, because you just thought, why not?
Well, I've been looking for an opportunity. I have a son who is high functioning autism. And so for me to be in physician staffing, that meant I was gone from the house 10 to 12 hours a day. and really no access to be able to be flexible. I mean, pretty
Mhm.
much 7 in the morning till being gone 7 at night. So I needed something that I could either work from home or have some flexibility in my schedule. When he's doing great, no problem. When he's doing bad, I can focus and spend some time on him. And Cutco just seemed like the perfect opportunity for me to be able to work hard when he was busy or he's occupied, and then spend the time and energy that I can and need to with him in the other times. And so this is a perfect opportunity because there's not very many jobs you can go out and, like you were showing numbers earlier, where people can work 3 or 4 presentations a week, or work 10 hours a week and make 50, 60, $70,000.
Yeah.
And if you apply yourself, this is legit a $200,000, $300,000 a year opportunity
Yeah.
income. And that's very exciting to me.
Yeah. An advantage that you have now is you know what it's like to work like how most people work. If you want to be successful in the real world, outside of the Cutco cocoon, as I call it, you got
Right.
to put in 10-hour days. You got to work. You got to go to work early in the morning. You work, usually you stay late, and you don't always get paid extra for staying late. You just
Right.
do the thing. And I don't know if you realized that when you were brand new, but you worked hard anyway. But a lot of people, maybe I could have worked a lot harder probably as a Cutco rep. I think a lot of people don't realize that if you want to really make money, succeed, be able to afford a house and some of the even halfway nice things, you're going to work your butt off out there. Right.
Yeah.
And people can sell Cutco and work part-time, make $1,000 a week or whatever. And many people on here had a comma club paycheck, and then they leave Cutco and then they go out and they're like, holy cow, you really gotta, like, they really expect me to really work, so when you
You're
came
serious
back,
about that work thing?
yeah,
A couple of things that's really exciting about this opportunity. And, you've got the ability. I mean, we're not going to put a cap on you. In other words, nobody's going to tell me, okay, you can only do this much work. You can only make this much money. You can only sell this many knives, and then you're capped out. And so I'm not the smartest, but I definitely know that I can outwork folks. I mean, I can put in my energy and effort, and I can do my best, and I'm not going to quit. I've never seen a single person that ever sold Cutco that failed, as long as they were trying, as long as they were working at it, and as long as they put in the effort. The only time you can't do this is when you stop. And that's the thing that I really kind of focused on back then, and also even now today. Every time you do a presentation, you're going to make a sale. Either you're going to sell them on buying Cutco, or they're going to sell you that they don't need it. And that's fine. But what has to happen is you have to learn from that either mistake, or that, I only sold 2 knives this time, or only sold a small set this time. It's only a mistake if you don't learn from that. And that's the thing that I've really prided myself on, is getting better every single phone call, getting better every single presentation, getting better every single time I close. There's something that I can learn every time. And,
yeah,
and that's what's exciting about this. One of the things that I really think makes a huge difference, and, that I've learned back then that I've really tried to apply now, is practice. Practice, practice, practice. You need to know your demo. You need to know your products. You need to know your features and benefits, because I may, and then your names and uses, I may love the trimmer. And when I'm talking to folks about the trimmer, I may mention 5 or 6 things that it can be good for. But if it's not things that they do, then they don't connect to it. So I need to really be an expert on the trimmer. And so the way you do that is by learning all kinds of names and uses for it, and then by using the stuff. Um, there's not a knife in our set that I don't spend time using, cutting with it. And I know I haven't always had all the pieces, but each time I had one, you learn to love the product, and it makes it so much easier to sell. The way that I look at it is, I've bought a lot of stuff in the last 25, 26 years of being married. It'll be 26 years in June. I can count on one hand the things that are still around after 25 years. Cutco, a couple of my fishing poles that I'm just not going to replace, that I love. And that's about it. I mean, my refrigerators have all been replaced. My washer dryers have been replaced. Our clothes, thank God, have all been replaced. We're not wearing the same styles that I wore back then. And the idea behind it is that when I'm sitting across from somebody, I know, and when I'm doing a presentation for them, I know there's nothing they're going to spend their money on this year that they're going to be using 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, 50 years from now, every single day, and it be the best that they can get, like Cutco. And that's the thing that's so exciting, is I know that it might be a little struggle for them to come up with the money or figure out how to fit it into the budget, but I know that's the best thing they're going to buy this year. And 5 years from now, and 10 years from now, and 20 years from now, they're going to thank me for it.
You said
Yeah.
you actually sold a whole lot of your product in the last year to customers that you sold to. Now you're making sales to their kids.
I actually sold this girl. She's probably 38, 39 years old. And she goes, I remember when I was 6 years old and you were at my mom's house selling her knives. I remember your presentation. I'm like, I don't even remember you were there. And she's remembering the whole thing. That's and so, I've had a lot of kids of old customers that are buying CUTCO because they grew up with it and they loved it. And they're so excited about getting their hands on it.
Yeah. You said something well, first of all, I want to make sure you said something just a few minutes ago about a sale is made on every demo. And I want to make sure people heard what you said. So listen up. And if you're taking notes, this is one of the things you want to get down, because I remember learning this early on, and understanding this mindset just changes, I don't know, just changes how we go about doing demos, right? So what is it you said about that?
I said, every single time you do a presentation, the sale is made. Either you sell them on CUTCO or they sell you that they don't need it. And when they're selling you that they don't need it, then you're like, oh yeah, maybe you can't afford it. Maybe you can't, maybe you don't need it. And you know, that's not true. And so that just means that some part of your presentation, some part of your, of the way that you explain things didn't reach them, didn't get to them. And so no sales are going to happen, and that's okay. But it's bad if you keep making the same mistakes over and over again and keep not transferring that feeling. Because if somebody feels the way that I do about CUTCO, they're going to buy. There's no way in the world that the money they have in their pocket is worth more than what they think CUTCO should be. And so when you get down to the end of a presentation, if they think CUTCO is worth $5,000 a set, and you tell them you can get a Homemaker Plus 8 for $14.19 and a free kitchen tool set and shears to go with it, they're like, what? That cheap? You got to be kidding me. But if you tell them, hey, it's $14.19, and they're like, $1,400, then you know you haven't shared the quality of the product, you haven't shared the benefits of the product, you haven't shared the features of the product, and you haven't built value enough. Yeah. All of us are a little bit more attached to our money than others. If you got a lot of money, then a lot of times you're a lot more willing to just, I mean, if you found $100 on the parking lot, you're like, hey, I got an extra $100, and you feel like you have to work harder for it. You just give it away without having to work hard for it. But if somebody's worked hard for their money, they value it more. And so what you've got to do is show them that, hey, this money you're going to spend on CUTCO is worth more than the effort and the energy that it took you to earn it. And that's an easy thing, because CUTCO is worth so much. You know, I have people that say, I don't know if I'm ready to do this, and I tell them, back in 1987, that Homemaker Plus 8 cost $611. And today it's $1,419. Imagine what it's going to be when you come back and you want to buy from me 10 years from now. He says, let's go ahead and get it now. Why? It's a great deal.
It'd be $2,000. I mean, look at inflation. Things are going up like 30, 40% in the last 6 months.
Yep. A gallon of gas was 99 cents when I was selling CUTCO back in 1986, and it's $3.50 a gallon here in Dallas today.
Well, I pay over $5, so you enjoy yourself over there in Dallas. Talk about your schedule. Okay, we talked a little bit about, there's some things like how do you get consistent? Consistently making sure you're turning in orders. What do you do to stay consistent?
So one thing that I've committed to myself, and this is the only person that matters, I don't have a manager yelling at me for doing this or not, but every single morning I'm going to talk to 5 people on the phone about CUTCO, whether that is setting an appointment, whether that's, asking for referrals, whether that's confirming an order or letting them know, hey, your knives are about to be delivered this week. I'm talking to 5 people every single morning. I do my work for the day, and then at night, I'm talking to 5 more people. So every single day I'm making a phone call to 10 people. And that's the no-go. I mean, that's for sure. Everything else is either going to come from that or not. And that's, in a 5-day work week, that's 50 people that I'm talking about CUTCO. I can be picky and choosy about who I see and who I call when I've got that pipeline that gets built up. And that turns into presentations, that turns into sales, that turns into all kinds of stuff. But mostly what it does is keeps me in the business, keeps me focused, and makes me feel like I'm not getting a zero, like you were talking about. Something good is always happening because of that. Yeah. And that's just a commitment that I make to myself to put in the effort every single day. And some days I may not have presentations. Some days I may have 5 or 6. That works out the way it works out, timing and schedule wise. But I'm going to make the effort that I can only control what I can control. And that's something that I can definitely control, is picking up that phone and making the phone call. I can't control whether or not they buy. I can't control whether or not they're going to be available, but I definitely can, reach out and talk to 10 people every day, 5 in the morning, 5 in the evening.
And any key to doing well on the phone? I mean, when you're actually getting in touch with people, and is there a phone skill that you feel like you may have learned a long time ago that you still do, or what advice would you give people to?
I think a lot of it is you have to show yourself. It's not a script that you're reading. It's not just the right words that you say, but you got to make people see your heart. You got to make people, see that you're doing your best. I mean, it was great when I was a college kid that I could, ask for help me do this as a college kid. Now it's got to be a little bit more different. And I actually tell folks, my purpose for doing this is to, help as many people as I can, and also to, to be able to spend some time with my son. I found an excellent opportunity that allows me to take care of him and still take care of my family, financially, and, get to show something that I believe in and that I know is going to help them out, whether they buy or not. And that comes across in my conversations with them on the phone.
95% or 94.5% closing percentage. It's pretty good. Any tips on how do you close a high percentage of people? And you can work in here if you want, because I remember you talking about how when you first started doing demos again, you sold a heck of a lot of homemaker plus homemakers, but you never sold signatures or U-bombs.
Right.
And all of a sudden, and you can talk about what happened. Now you almost never sell a homemaker. It's almost always a signature or an ultimate set. What changed there?
A big part of that is using the knives and knowing the knives. The homemaker set doesn't have a salmon knife. It doesn't have a bony knife. It doesn't have a cleaver. It doesn't have, a Santoku knife. And so I spend a whole lot of time on the knives that don't come in that homemaker set, because, everybody needs the minimum number of tools to do 100% of the jobs in the kitchen, which is the homemaker set. But what you've got to show them is how much easier their time in the kitchen, whether they cook 2 meals a week or whether they cook 10 meals a week, it's going to be when they have the right tool for the right job. And if it's a guy, I talk about tools in the garage. If it's a lady, I talk about shoes and handbags and how they can match your outfit. And having the right tool for the right job makes everything easier. And so I spend a little bit of extra time explaining those extra tools that come in the bigger set. I spend a lot of time talking about the benefits of steak knives over table knives, because then that's an option for them in the bigger sets. And what happens is that just by building a lot of need or want for those bigger sets translates into selling smaller sets as well, because then they're just like, okay, well, I'll just start off with this, as opposed to that being the big all end all thing. And so the bigger sets happen when I started, spend a lot of time talking about cheese knives. Cheese knives are the greatest knife in the world. Everybody I see is going to buy a cheese knife, and there's no way I'm not going to sell something to somebody because we've made a cheese knife. And so that's
well, you said you had 13 no sales, so I guess you had 13 people out of
and there's 13 people that I ended up buying the idea that they couldn't buy it, so they got me on those first 13. And so I haven't had a no sale since December. So
well, I remember learning this, that there's no such thing as a no sale. We just run out of time.
Yeah, exactly.
When you were on stage in 1988, and I was at my very first, you talked about dropping down, and right. Until I understood that, we show the big sets and then we kind of go smaller, and I understood the general concept of that, but you're the one that helped me understand why and how. And you basically said, if you do it right, it's almost hard not to sell something.
So before you even start mentioning prices and stuff, I think it's real important throughout the presentation to ask lots of questions. Get them involved, get them talking, get them to see themselves using the knives. Imagine yourself, using a knife that actually works every time you use it. Now, imagine if you didn't struggle with, and you've already talked to them about the things they like to cook. Imagine if you didn't struggle with cutting up a chicken, or imagine if it wasn't hard to cut up a spaghetti squash, or, to cut up a pineapple. Imagine if you could actually get the avocado to come out of the shell without it just being a mauled, mangled mess. And so it's really important to keep them involved, and you're checking their temperature. You're asking them questions, you're seeing how they answer it. And then so you've already got them used to answering questions as you go. So when it starts coming time for the prices and stuff, and I always, as a little college kid, I kind of played the puppy dog approach a little bit. And so I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, would you like to go ahead and get, back then the big set was the Homemaker +8, and ask them. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you. And then it almost kind of becomes a running joke as we go to the galley set. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you, would you like to go ahead and get this galley set? And then it's kind of fun, but you're still serious with the question that you're asking them, but you go from each step. And a confused mind never makes a decision. And I think it's real important for you to make things as crystal clear and as simple as possible, because what will happen if they don't understand the offer and if they're confused, then they'll say, I need to think about it. Or they'll say, I need to talk to my wife about it. Or they'll say, I'm not sure if I'd use those knives. If there's confusion, a confused mind's not going to make a decision. And so that's why you go through each individual set, and it takes more time, it takes a little more effort, but you want to make sure they understand the offer. Because if they understand the offer, you've done a good job on the features and benefits, you've built the value, they see all the different uses that the tools and the knives have, and it's going to make their life easier. And you've talked to them about the guarantee and how they'll never spend money on it again. The only rational, logical thing to do is to buy knives. But people don't buy knives because of logic or because of rationality. They buy them because they want them. And your enthusiasm through all that logic makes it where it's just like, well, okay, great. And then it's just a matter, do you want red, white, or you want classic? You want your block in cherry wood or honey wood. And then you're just building value throughout that whole process. And almost, if your attitude is, it never even crosses my mind that you're not going to buy from me. It's almost just like, I'm here to help you pick out what you want. Because if somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to buy a set of knives, is your presentation different from them than the person that says, I'll see your presentation, but I'm not interested in buying anything? And it really shouldn't be. Your attitude should be, if you knew what I know, there's no way you're not going to buy this. And it's my job to get you to know what I know about Cutco. And that's a really easy thing to do. And when you love the product, you know it's a good decision for them. And it's just a matter of leading down the path that they already want to go.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm going to let you give one last tip, and I'll give a few minutes for I'm going to take a couple of questions, I suppose. What do you want to say to these people?
So if you've been in the business for less than 6 months, then chances are the people that you're seeing, the people that you talk to, care about you, or at least interested in seeing you be successful, or they wouldn't have given you their time. And so I think it's real important to take advantage, not of them, but of that opportunity to ask them how you did in the presentation. And if it's down to the end and it looks like they're not going to buy anything, you're going to say, hey, Brad, I really appreciate your time. I want, if you could help me out with one more thing. I want to make sure that I'm doing my job the best I can. And so was I able to help you understand all the different ways that Cutco is different and special than any other knives you've ever seen before? Have I been able? Yeah. And did I do a good job of showing you the difference between each of the individual knives and how they work and how they can help you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And so did I do a good job of helping you understand how this is going to be something that you really don't ever have to spend money on ever again, and how you can get it right now, and it's obviously going to help you out for 10 years, for 15 years, or 20 years down the road? Did I do okay with that?
Okay, here's my credit card.
But what I truly want to find out is where I'm messing up.
Yeah.
Because if I'm not making a sale, it's because they don't know what I know. And that means I didn't explain it good enough. And I want to make sure that I don't make that same mistake on the next guy that I see.
Yeah,
when you start caring about your job enough to give it your very best, that means don't make the same mistakes twice. Don't bump your head through the doorway. Start learning how to duck and figure out how to get through there the best way you can. I mean, and I promise you, if there's things and problems with your demonstration, there's a manager on your team, Brad, that can help every single new person you've got figure that out.
Without a doubt. Yeah, thank you again for your time. We've got this on video. I'll try to edit it down a little bit and make sure we just put the nuggets together and post it up for everybody. But Jeff, hey, thanks, man. If there's something we can do for you, or you need a place to stay when you're visiting San Diego sometime, feel free to jump. Don't hesitate to ask. We're happy to help.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you, sir. Go back to the game. Appreciate your time, Jeff, and we'll see you.